Hey guys, what's going on? Stuart from Chaos Cards here, and sorry it's been a little while since I posted any videos. As you all know, we're going through a big move at the warehouse. We've moved from our current location to, well, another location. So yeah, a lot going on, lots of boxes to move, lots of boxes to move. So yeah, I thought I would actually just do a random kind of deck profile. Now, what I've done here, I've built a Dungeon World deck for Future Card Buddyfight. The deck is really popular at the moment. The trial deck is selling really quickly, and all the single cards are selling really quickly. And what I wanted to do was show you a deck that you could build that really wouldn't cost very much for you to make. Don't get me wrong, it's not exactly a world tournament winning deck, but what it is a consistent build that's relatively powerful. As I said, consistent. You never seem to draw dead, and it's fun to play, and it's really cheap. There's nothing above R. There's nothing above the R rarity, so there's no doubles, no triples. There is one promo at the top, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let's just get into the deck, and I'll explain a little bit more about the card choices when I get to them. So, as you can see, Dungeon World, and the buddy for the deck is Fate Skeleton. This is the hollow version that you can get from the third booster set. All the other versions in the deck up there are commons, but I just thought the buddy could be foil because it's kind of cool when you do that. It doesn't really make any difference, but it's kind of cool. So the size 3s, we have 2 of the Tosa Hound Cobalt, and then 1 of the Master Skeleton. Now you might be wondering why all this bordering here is totally different. If you look, it's totally different color. It's really dark compared to all the others. It's a promo card, and that's originally how the Dungeon World stuff was going to look. It was going to be dark like that, but before they settled on the final design, which is like these ones here, that's what it looked like, and that promo was made before the final design was, done. Essentially, let's try to find the right word there. Was done. So, yeah, there you go. That's why that's there. A little bit hard to get hold of. If you're an American, it's probably really hard, really easy to get hold of because you have a lot of tournaments over there. But I will try and get these on our store if I can. I will try very hard. But if you can't get one of these, you could just run another one of this dude. So it's not really a problem. Then we have 3 Skull Golem Mazubaha, which is cool. These are the size 2s, by the way. The Doberman Cobalt, 3 of those. 3 onto the size 1s. 3 Dax Cobalt, or Darks, I don't know how you would say it. 3 Evil Break. 3 of the Big Surprise Pandora. 3 Mimic with a Prize. 3 Gummy Slime. Now moving on to the zeros. 3 Mamashiba Cobalt. And 4 Fate Skeletons. Now moving on to the spells. That's obviously the buddy as well, just so you know. That's why there's 4 of them. I know some people don't even run 4, but in this deck I think as a level 0 he's pretty cool, so well, he's pretty powerful, so I'll get into that in a moment though. And then we've got 2 Dangerous Pit. I should have actually shown that afterwards, after this, but 4 Dominion Rod, then the 2 Dangerous Pit, because they're the weapons or the items, whatever. 4 Divine Protection of Shalsana. I think that's definitely a 4 of in pretty much every deck. Pillar of Fire is pretty much a 3 or a 4 usually. Dangerous Fuse, 2 of those. 2 Cecilia's Spell Disarm, and 2 Oracle of Tuval. Now, I'll just quickly go into some of the reasons why I picked some of the cards and basically what the deck's about. The deck is essentially a consistency based build. You always find that you have something you can summon. I personally play Katana World, and sometimes in Katana World, if you don't draw the cards in just the right order, it can really screw you and you end up not being able to summon anything. It doesn't happen often, But with Katana World, and with a lot of other worlds, it's kind of hit and miss what you can use. This just seems very basic, very straightforward, but also very powerful. It's surprising how much attack power these things like get, and all of a sudden you just end up like, if you attack into your if I'm playing against this deck and they have 4 of these, you know, it negates attack and gains life, and then Pillar of Fire destroys stuff with 6,000 or less defense, which is a lot of stuff. They have draw power, they have more draw power, they have the ability to destroy spells and items, they have a weapon that isn't just a weapon, it also gives a passive bonus to all the dungeon enemies. And I believe, if I'm correct, let me just check. Yeah, every single card in this deck is a dungeon enemy, so they will all gain 1,000 attack and defense, or power and defense, which is really good. I mean, you get things like the Fate Skeleton, which is the buddy for the deck, with let's just get in there so you can see. It's 3,000, 1 crit, and 3,000. So that becomes a 4/4/1 with that weapon. It's ridiculous. That's really high for a 0. It's just 4/4/1 is just so good. The Momoshima becomes a 4. What am I talking about? Comes a 2/3 with 2 crits, which is amazing. You know, they all just gain this power, and they just seem to be able to overcome anything, and they've got a really nice sort of set of backup spells to help them. Now, as I said, this is not a tournament winning deck. I mean, it could be on a lucky day, it could be, but the reason I designed this for you to see was just so that you could see what you could build for not so much money. I mean, this stuff, I can't think of how much this would cost you. I mean, if you take out the foil version of that and maybe swap that for another one of those, you know, maybe it would be cheaper. But you're only going to save another sort of like £10 maybe doing that, maybe a little bit less, £8, because I think this guy's like nearly £5 on his own. But it's just, it's hard to explain. I mean, I've played against this. My girlfriend uses this deck quite a lot because I built it for her to use, because she just wanted something simple, and she likes the Dungeon World from the TV show. And she's not played this game, you know, as much as me, and she's still able to beat me with it just because of its consistency. I find that I have to use up all my resources getting rid of their stuff, and then they still have more. They just keep churning out monsters. And it overwhelms you just like a dungeon would, really. It gets too much. And with these fun little cards that, I mean, when you build a real deck, like a tournament level deck, you kind of want to get rid of some of these maybe I'll get hurt, maybe I won't cards. I know a lot of people don't use them, but you know, some people do. Each to their own, really. But I think they're really fun for this kind of deck. I've been murdered by these things so many times just because you underestimate them because of what they are. I mean, with the extra boost from this one here becomes a 5/2/5 with the ability to do an extra damage if you're unlucky. So it's pretty good. I mean, like I said, it's consistent. The only thing I run 4 of is this spell here because it's amazing, and the buddy. So and the item. So let's get into a little bit of the card interaction. Won't spend too much time going over everything because Dungeon World players probably know what this stuff does already. But let's have a look up here. We have Evil Break. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to read that. I'll try and keep it as still as possible. It's pay 1 gauge. When this card enters the field, search your deck for a staff. Put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. And obviously, these are a staff, as you can see right down there. And I'll just give you a little look at what the staff does. Pay 1 gauge. All dungeon enemy on your field get 1,000, 1,000. Plus it's already a 3 and 2. So that gives you the ability to search through your deck for some stuff. And in return, you can play this, and it's going to power him up. So he'll become a 3/1/3 with the ability to search a card from your deck. So there you go. What else should we have a look at? Let's have a quick look at Dangerous Fuse. Just so you know, this card is actually printed. If it wants to focus, I don't know if it will. Yeah, this card is actually printed as a common. It's not. It's an uncommon. Just so you know, it's a mistake in the printing. So there's a couple of mistakes in the new Dungeon World stuff. So just bear that in mind. Basically, what this lets you do is look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You reveal one to your opponent, and then you sort of shuffle them around and ask your opponent to pick which one the revealed one was. If the card chosen by the opponent has the same name as the one revealed, then you put the 2 cards into your hand. If it's not, they go into the gauge. So you can't lose. You can't really lose with that. Either you draw 2, or you get 2 gauge. So pretty good. You might think it would be worth running lots of these, but you can only use 1 a turn. So I think 2 or 3 maybe. I don't think I'd want to chance it on 4 just in case you draw a clump of them. That's kind of the problem. Obviously in this game you can charge and draw anything you don't want, so that's kind of cool. This one here is just pay 2 gauge, destroy a spell or item. Really good. A lot of people use items and weapons and all that sort of stuff, so you know, it helps. If you were playing in a tournament, you could side these out if your opponent doesn't use weapons. Some decks don't. I've seen some really good decks that don't use it. You got the Oracle of Tuval here, which is you can only cast it if you have 5 or less life. Discard your entire hand and draw 3. You can only use 1 a turn. It's basically Dragonic Grimoire, so there you go. This one up here is a counter, so it can be played on your opponent's turn. You may only cast this card when an opponent calls a size 2 or less monster to the field. Rest it. So basically they can't use it for that turn. It's like it has summoning sickness, so they can't use it. You might notice there's a lot of kobolds in the deck. You've got the Mama Shiba, you have the Darks, you have the Doberman, and then obviously you have Tosa Hound. Tosa Hound is a 7/3/6, as you can see there, so he's pretty beefy. Plus he's got Penetrate, and with this equipped to you, he's going to be an 8/3/7, which is amazing. As I said, with Penetrate, so 8,000, if he hits you in the center, you're still going to take 3 regardless. But yeah, he's got Soul Guard, and his cool cost is to pay 2 gauge and pick a card from your drop zone with Cobalt in its name and put it into the soul of him. So he's got 1 Soul Guard as well. So pretty powerful, pretty simple but pretty powerful. He's only an uncommon, so pretty easy to pick up. And for those of you that haven't seen this guy, I'll give you a better look. He is an 8/3/5, size 3. He also has Soul Guard. His cool cost is pay 3 gauge and put the top card of your deck into this monster's soul. When this card enters the field, you may call a size 0 dungeon enemy from your drop zone without paying its cool cost. So he gets 1 Soul Guard. He's an 8/3/5. With the staff equipped, he is a 9/3/6, which is again pretty good, and he works with the other skeleton, the Fate Skeleton, so I thought that was a kind of cool interaction, that he is the Master Skeleton and then you have the Fate Skeletons. I thought that was kind of a cool little thing. You can also call this guy if you feel like it, but yeah, you've got a nice big chunk of targets there to summon with him. And because he's only on 1, if you find that you can't summon him for any reason, you can just charge him and then draw. So there you go. Most of the other cards in here are pretty self-explanatory. You know, you've got vanilla, ones with no effects. Fate Skeleton has no effect. Mama Shiba has no effect. Gummy Slime just prevents the move. All of your opponent's monsters can't move. That's what Gummy Slime does. But yeah, it's a pretty fun deck to play. Really cheap to make. If you're looking to start the game and you want something that's playable, you could easily take it to a tournament. I'm not saying you would destroy everybody. It's probably not the optimum way to build it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it probably, or it definitely isn't the best way to play the Dungeon World theme. Definitely not. But it's a really cheap deck. It's really simple to make. It's really fun to play, and it's consistent as hell. It just churns monsters out all the time, and it's great. I can't really stress it enough how much I want you guys to check this out. A lot of you probably, if you've bought some of the third set and the trial deck, probably have all of these cards sitting around anyway, except obviously maybe the promo. But again, you don't have to use the promo. He's just there because I'm kind of showing off. Sorry. So yeah, there you go. There's my little Dungeon World deck for new players, really, more than pros. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you're liking the new Dungeon World stuff, please let me know. Let me know what kind of cards you're using in your Dungeon World deck. I'm always interested to know what people are doing. This is my favourite game at the moment. I love it to death. I love the artwork. I love the cards. I love everything about it. So if anyone wants to come talk to me about it in the comments section, please feel free. Okay guys, so I'm going to be back soon with another deck list, and it's going to be my Katana World build. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that, and thank you all for watching. Goodbye.